My name's Kaden Keeler, and welcome to my TED Talk. Today I'm going to be talking about health psychology. Health psychology is a very relevant issue that should be addressed and made a priority in people's lives. There are many different aspects of health psychology, and they all provide a better understanding of how one can assist to provide help to someone in need. The topics I'll be talking about are exercise and eating behavior, family health and safety, and public health. Each of these topics have their own studies that have been done to better understand what health psychology is. Today I'm going to go through all three in detail in order to fully understand health psychology. Health psychology and how it's used to ensure a person's well-being. Health psychology has many different names. For example, it can be called medical psychology or behavioral medicine. It mainly centers itself on how biology, psychology, behavior, and social factors influence health and well-being. Health psychologists also focus on understanding how people react, cope, and recover from illness. Some health psychologists work to improve the healthcare system and the government's approach to healthcare policy. The field of health psychology is still quite young, emerging during the 1970s to address the rapidly changing field of healthcare. Life expectancy was much lower just 100 years ago, and health concerns then often centered on such things as basic sanitation and avoidance of infectious diseases. Today, life expectancy in the U.S. is around 80 years old, and in the leading cause of mortality are chronic diseases that are often linked to lifestyles such as heart disease and stroke. Health psychology came to be by psychologists writing or wanting to observe the patterns of behavior that go with a disease and see if they can learn how to help. There are three topics that deal with health psychology, and as I stated before, those are exercise and eating behavior, family health and safety, and public health. So today I'll be talking about all of those. First is exercise and eating behavior. Exercise and eating behavior are a definite way to understand an illness. Obesity is linked to more than 60 chronic diseases. Worldwide obesity has nearly doubled since 1980. In 2008, more than 1.4 billion adults 20 and older were overweight. Of these, 200 million men and nearly 300 million women were obese. In order to prevent this from happening, health psychologists study eating behaviors and psychological strategies that would help a person to be able to stick to dieting or exercising more easily and make it more effective. At least 30 million people of all ages and genders suffer from an eating disorder in the U.S. In a study following active duty military personnel over time, 5.5% of women and 4% of men had an eating disorder at the beginning of the study. And within just a few years of continued service, 3.3 more women and 2.6% more men developed an eating disorder. A health psychologist in this situation would study the link between media and how they portray the ideal body, and anorexia and bulimia. They would find if there's a link between the two, and that is how they would figure out their treatment. The next topic I'll be talking about is family health and safety. Family health and safety are important in understanding illness. There has been an increased public awareness of infant safety, such as placing an infant on his back to sleep, removing pillows and other objects from the sleeping area, and etc. These actions have influenced the occurrence of SIDS, or crib death. Health psychology studies the fact that debates on whether it has made the number of deaths decrease, or also why parents don't follow these guidelines. There have been many studies about childhood immunizations. According to vaccines work, they have kept children healthy and have saved millions of lives for more than 50 years. Most children's vaccines most childhood vaccines are 90% to 99% effective in preventing disease. And if a vaccinated child does get the disease, the symptoms are usually less serious than in a child who hasn't been vaccinated. Some questions a health psychologist would ask themselves would be, why don't some people get their children immunized, and how it impacts public health, and what they can do to help increase the number of children getting vaccinated. Another aspect of family health and safety is teen suicide. Why are many suicide prevention programs out there, but do they really work? That's something that a health psychologist deals with. The next topic I'll be talking about is public health. With so many disasters going on in today's world, there are many ways and organizations to help cope with it. The questions in health psychology is, what can mental health and medical professionals do to help? And there are strategies that are successful in a better outcome long term. PTSD, or post-traumatic stress disorder, is also a big factor in public health. Veterans are dealing with this every day, and it can be an issue for a long time. Some questions one might ask in health psychology are, what about a certain individual makes them to where they experience post-traumatic stress disorder? Also, what mental health treatments can be used to help treat this issue? Another issue that is becoming more and more prevalent with the incoming of JOLS is the issue of addiction. Addiction is one of the most scariest and serious issues in America, because it sneaks up on you before you know it, and then you're addicted. Stopping smoking after addiction is one of the hardest things to do. Health psychology helps to figure out what forms of treatment would be most effective. Some other forms of public health are things like riding a bicycle and using a helmet, or using a seatbelt when you drive. Those things may be simple, but they can still be life-threatening in a bad situation. Health psychologists have to come up with different techniques that will make doing these simple tasks more likely. With all the things we have to go through these days, there are many stresses that cross our minds. Sometimes it's as if it's too much to bear. And in some cases, a patient can express chronic pain. Stress management techniques can be used to relieve that stress, but how effective are they, and do they help as much as pharmaceutical medicine? So, after researching health psychology, it really helped me to better understand this topic. This was not a topic that we discussed in the class, but hopefully following its approval, it will become my degree plan. I took this opportunity to learn more about it so that I could have a better understanding, and it paid off enormously. I really enjoyed researching this topic because it had so much to do with my future. Knowing more about health psychology throughout this month has taught me to look at things in a different light and watch for things I normally wouldn't have. Health psychology is something that can be used every day, whether it's in a normal day routine like putting a helmet on a child when riding a bike, or a not so everyday routine like dealing with a friend with suicidal thoughts. Just thinking about how you can influence someone's health or well-being is always a helpful tool. I think that there is a much bigger need for health psychology than people realize. If more people took into consideration the solutions to a problem in order to better someone's life, I feel like our world would be in a much better place. Health psychology has significance in everyone's life. Because who doesn't want to be happy and better off than they were before? If a problem arises with a family member or a friend, wouldn't you like to be the one who knows how to solve it? Health psychology applies to everyone, no matter race, age, or gender. There is never a time when you should not be more worried about someone's well-being. It is so relevant to issues in our world now and in the future. There will always be someone out there who needs help because of the research I've done on health psychology, I am now prepared to help in any way I can. Following my graduation from HSU, I plan on becoming an occupational therapist. And health psychology has opened a whole new world for me and created a better understanding of what I'm eventually going to have to do as an occupational therapist. So I'm so glad that we got to do this research paper and this TED Talk to help me better understand health psychology and all the aspects of psychology in our class. Thank you.